Hello, historical people, Order of the Blade people, if you're watching as well. Today I'm just going to run through some shield stuff, okay? Namely, I33. Does it work with shields? The short answer is yeah, mate. So if you don't want to watch the video, don't watch the video. But only to an extent, okay? So when people say, does I33 work? What they're usually referring to is, do the custodias, the guard positions, work with shields? Now, I'll run through them. First custodia, second, third, fourth, fifth, I think, sixth. Yeah. Is there another one? Can't remember. Yes, they're fine. If it's just as a starting position for you to, do stuff with, it's absolutely fine. You can throw things from either of them. They're not terrible starting places, okay? So if you really don't know what to do with the shield and you're really looking for a manual to sit on your shelf and gather dust while you pretend that you read it, get I33, not a problem. Where it does differ is obviously with something like a strap shield. Now, I have seen configurations that let you use it more like a buckler, usually just loosening the straps and hold on to them. I've done it before with this one, but I also want to learn how to use it strapped, so whatever. You can do most of the things, like the Hauptschild. You don't need to bring the shield out like this, because that creates all this massive opening for me. I can just tuck it there, and my hand protection built into my body and head protection. Much easier. Things like your covers, it's harder to get this across your body. You can send it out and stuff, but it puts your torso in a weird twist, and it's not probably healthy for you, that sort of thing. And obviously, you're working with bigger dimensions. Now, the heater itself does lend itself, I'd say, exceptionally well to all of the custodias for the I33. Because of the shape of it, I can fight from anywhere, really. It's really quite a nimble and effective shield. But when we start coming to something like the center grip round shield, or the Viking shield, Norman shield, or whatever you want to call the damn thing, because of the way this is set up, you'd think, oh yeah, that's more like a buckler. And yes, apart from the fact that it's about 10 times heavier, and you don't need to do that shit. Like, the buckler works on cone of defense, and let me just show you that really quickly. Cone of defense 101. How much of my body can you now see with this close to me? Now, how much of my body can you see with that further away from me? It should be a little bit less. And obviously the sword can only pass, if I'm blocking with this properly, the sword can only pass around those angles. So I'm giving myself a wider angle so that you can't stab me. Obviously there's ways around things like that, etc, etc. So that uses the cone of defense principle because it's only little. Whereas shields, because of their size, they are an area denial. Okay, I can just sit that on me, no problem. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can just lean that there, and then all of this is protected: my arm, my head, etc, etc. We can't even see any of my torso there, really. So that's the difference to them. And again, these are heavier. Now, some of your positions are more awkward from here. Okay, if I was just going to go straight for it, first custodia, bang, maybe if I held it out, but I have to consciously think of where my shield is, which takes that little bit more brain power, which in any sort of sparring or combat situation, any more work you have to do is bad. So there's a little bit of a downside there, but then of course I've got another 1.5 foot of offensive capability with this shield as well, and it's heavier, so I can throw that into people and just like punch with the shield or lock a weapon down. I can do a few more things, I can roll it around myself, and I can do things like the left covers and some of the contrarias with the round shield better than I can necessarily with that, because I still have the freedom of movement. I just have to be a lot stronger if I want to be, perfect I33 stuff, okay? So it can work. I33 is a fine source to start with your shields, or your shield work. Obviously, the bigger your shield goes, I would say the less your I33 principles will be necessary. And as much as they are similar, they're also different. Okay, so if you don't practice with shields already, I recommend get some. We source all of ours through the order of the blade themselves. They've got a shield maker, but there are all sorts of different kinds you can get online and practice with. I'm holding the synth, but we use these on steels as well, and it's, you know, no problem. Only a couple of us have to replace them maybe once, twice, every other year or something. But yeah, so same but different. You should try them out and learn the differences for yourselves. They are really fun. Shield game is a totally different game. Well, it's a different game. So yeah, hopefully that's a bit useful though, for some of you. Some of the sort of more random things you might not have known about shields. If you want some more, like, subscribe and all that. Otherwise, I'll just go back to talking about English longsword, and you guys can sit and be bored shitless. Right, thank you. See you in a bit.